that blue wall does not exist, okay? That's just for, I should say, that's just for Facebook props or decoration. That's the furthest that blue code goes. Trust me when I tell you. Because I'll just put it like this. No such thing. I'll leave it at that, because sometimes, when they say people can be each other's worst enemies, and I'll just leave it at that. That blue wall does not exist.
Yeah, this is that. Yeah, young Pira Overdilla, behind the mic like the will of a vehicular killer.
Now, the thing about, you said, like, that was interesting that you brought up, because I was never aware of that. It was the guy's training officer and stuff like that. Sometime where if a cop goes out, if he got like 4 days on a job or whatever like that, he's going to listen to everything that guy that's taking him out does. So he would never stop him. He does not know to think, for himself as a human being. You understand? Like, he can think something is wrong, but he might think it's right according to police tactical things. You understand what I mean? Like, he will not step in, because that's his training officer. It's like, what is he going to tell him? Especially if you got 4 days on a job, you know nothing. You don't know anything. So basically, with that being said, 4 days on a job, the poor cop was just a victim of what this guy has done and what he's done in the past, because I know he had a big record of doing like this. But once the cuff went on, the fact the guy was cuffed, it was wrong. That's not police work. And the thing is, I don't want people to think that's police work, because it's not. He was not a threat. And having his knee on his neck, I mean, I heard there was a little bit more backstory to that they knew each other prior to this incident. I think they worked in a bar or somewhere like that. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Yeah.
And when you look at the guy's face, I don't call him officer no more because he's fired. But when you look at his face, when he had his neck, like, it just looked so intentional. It looked just like the way he's doing it. And he got his hands in his pocket. That just looked terrible. And, should the public be mad at the police for that? Absolutely. I mean, they don't see what goes on inside. So, if you see a bunch of police doing that, of course, you got every right to be mad at them. Now, at the same time, when I tell people, okay, protect and serve, that's your job. You need to change that person's mind of how they feel that way. You can't go out there fighting with the public on how they feel about police, because it's going to be a losing situation, and they're just going to dislike you more.
Now, I think as for like a police officer, and thanks for that insight. As a police officer, do you think that it's important for the police department to have, you had that interaction with the person that you just mentioned, because you are from Brooklyn, right? You are, and it's in Brooklyn. You know who you're kind of dealing with. You know the demographic of the society you're dealing with, the community you're dealing with, and you know how to interact with them. But for instance, I'm not from Brooklyn. I am Black, but all I know about Brooklyn is through Yao and TV, right? So I'm maybe of the culture in terms of Black, but I'm still not comfortable around, say, Black people in Brooklyn. So I think, do you think the police department does a good job at putting the right people at the right place? Because, and I think that's where things differ, right? If you are a Black officer from Brooklyn working in the streets of Newark, you're not comfortable with Newark, New Jersey, I'm assuming. So you have a heightened sense of anxiety and urgency, because you don't know how things move around there, right? But they'll probably place you there if it's you and 5 other officers that are not Black. They'll probably put you there because they think you're the most comfortable there, right? Which also leads to these situations where confrontations happen, because people don't understand who they're dealing with, and they don't understand the neighborhood and the dynamic. And hey, you know what? I'm going to let this guy jump the turnstile because he is probably coming from work, and they're bigger fish to fry right now that I can actually be dealing with. So do you think that that's something that may be able to curb this, I guess the graph that we're on right now? Please.
You hit the nail on the head there, man, with what you just said. And it's very interesting. Now that makes me think okay, what would happen if they put me in Newark? Would I act any differently? That's a very good point that you brought up. And, you know, and that message, what you just brought up, I'm really going to try to get that out there. Well, yes, I think, yes, personally, what you just said, yes. Is that a big reason? I would say that's maybe 90% of the problem right there, what you just said, because I've seen some people, like, for example, I'll give you examples. Like I had a military guy who I work with, you know, he's not from Brooklyn anywhere, but he knows how to interact with people there. You understand? Because he's been around the world, he's done tours in Iraq. And so to him, nothing, you know, he's comfortable with everybody. Then I get some others, you know, and I'm not saying they all do that, where they get around these neighborhoods and they think everybody's a perp, they think everybody's a criminal. Oh, nah, he's probably coming from doing this. So it's like the initial reaction is like when they start talking to them, they're already at 60 already. You know what I mean? From the beginning, they're at 60 already. So then it escalates. You know, there was like some situations where we had a situation where where someone got into a confrontation, which led to an arrest of someone, where another officer got into a confrontation with that person, and it did not lead to arrest. They ended up having a nice day. But when the other ones got involved, it just turned into an arrest. So that, I think, is a very good thing, that what you said. But then the problem with what you said is we need more people taking the exam and taking these jobs, because you don't have that them taking these jobs. So when you go with the majority of people that are taking these jobs, they don't have much of a choice. You understand? It's like, that's all you have to work with. You understand?
If you look at what's going on right now, and even you pretty much, I'll preface what you mentioned earlier in terms of when you're patrolling, trying to keep people safe, people walk past you by, say you're a disgrace to the race and all these other derogatory things. I think, you know, I watched a video the other day where, you know, a kid says, you know, I don't want to be, a black kid said, I don't want to be a police officer when I grow up, because, you know, they don't help our community. And it broke my heart, because as a kid, you know, you don't really realize that in order to help your community, you need to be in law enforcement, you need to be in law, you need to understand things, right? You need to be in order for community policing to get better, we need to be part of that community of police. So for you, right, personally, I think that these police exams, because I know people that have gone for these police exams and have failed the polygraph for silly things, right? Like, have you ever smoked marijuana? And give me 1 second. Yeah, have you ever smoked marijuana? They say yes, and say, okay, you know, there was deception or whatever case may be. But then I know other people that have done heavier drugs, and they were not. They went in. They went to academy, and they're officers right now. But those people were white. The people that were black they have to be pristine. And I just don't think in this day and age, you know, you're going for these cop exams. You're not 16 years old. You're 21. You've lived a life. You've gone to college. Things have happened. And if you're honest about these things, I feel like even the exam is maybe racially biased. And maybe that's something that, you know, you can think about as a cop, and they can think about as how, you know, if our people are underrepresented, it may be not because we don't want to be cops, it's because we feel like the bar is set a little higher for us and a little lower for everybody else. And that's just my take.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Because, you know, I've had some people that took the exam with me, and some of them didn't get on for minor reasons and others did. But I would just say, you know, we shouldn't get discouraged because of that. You know what I mean? Because that's what keeps us down a lot. When we get discouraged, we just give up. You understand? And there's so many of us. So even if they say, for example, okay, this one doesn't get on, but more keeps taking. If people just keep taking the exam, eventually will be more represented in the department. Like the higher ups, we got a lot of people that look like us that are higher ups, white shirts, that are making the decisions up there. Believe me, there's a lot of them, and a lot of them are getting promoted right now, as we, you know. So I think if more just took the test, I think we could probably bridge that gap if more took the test. But many don't do it. But if a lot took it, I think you would see a lot of that. You see a lot more officers that know the community better than the ones that police some of them now.
And then in light of everything that's going on, right? I think your biggest thing is communication, right? People and the police officers. I think everything that you've kind of mentioned so far has come down to communication, information, getting the information, or just knowing that, hey, we're on your side. I'm just doing my job. The moment I get up, I want to make sure I make it home safely, and want to make sure you make it home safely. How can you as an individual, you as one solitary cop, impact your community? What are you going to do different in light of George Floyd? I know we've all said we're going to do things different just to build awareness in our communities with our families, to make it better in the corporate environment for Black people or a neighborhood for Black people, right? What are you going to do in order to put this message out there?
Well, what I do individually as myself, as one of the chief called, his name is Rodney Harris, detectives. He told me personally, he has said, you see people on the corner, don't always kick them off the corner, kick with them. You know what I mean? Don't kick them off, kick it with them. And this is stuff I just tell other people now ever since he told me that. So a lot of times, even before I'm coming in work, I see guys, I go up to them, I give them a pound, I start talking to them. It's just, I just communicate with more people in the community myself. You understand? Like sometimes, like if I see them and I'm with other cops, you know what I mean? I'll go up to them and have the conversation. Then I'll introduce this cop to them. And then I'll just tell them, yo, he's good. He's good money. Don't worry about it. Like even like a few times, like guys may walk through, or if something is up, I was like, no, yo, he's cool. I'll call him like on a namely basis. Like even now, like even at 125 or whatever, like if you see me, there are guys that may come up to me, yo, what up? What's good? And you know what I mean? Because it's like I just try to get that message out there that, we're all friendly people. You understand? Like there was like last year, like during the time with the Yankees in the playoffs, there's like a few guys, like, some of them are Met fans and I'm a Yankee fan. And what I try to do is I try to get that relation, like when I'm coming to work, like I'm in uniform, like they were all laughing at me one day, right? And people thought it was something was going to go down badly because they saw them all laughing at me. Other cops came, like surrounded me thinking something was going wrong. I said, nah, chill. They just doing that because the Yankees lost last night and their team won. That's all that's about. These are my people. Don't worry about it. I do a lot of things like that. Like, I'm a cop that people are very surprised. Like, I may stop you. Like, if I come up to you, stop you, you may think, oh, what's it for? Then I may just come and ask you, yo, did you see the Avengers movie by any chance? You know what I mean? Like random questions like that. I do that and they look at me and then they, and they feel more comfortable. I can see like how comfortable they feel. So, I try to do things like that. And I try to tell the younger cops that come in to do that because I said, no matter at the end of the day, you don't wear the uniform 8 hours a day. You're not a cop. Okay. You're a human being before you're a cop. And I tell you this community is your backup, okay? Because one time I had an instance in the Bronx where I was alone and the community helped me. You understand? So it's how you treat that community. I tell everybody that community is your backup. So don't go in there trying to do that, trying to play super cop or, to them, okay? You better serve them. You better respect them. And they should respect you the same, So that's what I try to get out there to other cops too.
With the displaced anger that we've been seeing on a global front and people making their frustrations readily known and actually taking action against some law enforcement agencies and stores and, the list can go on. Do you have more fear going into work each day, not knowing the type of people that you may come into contact with?
Of course. I mean, look at, look at the assassinations. Familiar, of course I am. I mean, I'm sitting in a van, I'm always watching myself. You don't know what people are going to do because they're not judging me. That it's the uniform that they see. They don't care about that. They see police, they don't care who's wearing that uniform. That's so I always go in and I always tell everybody, no matter what, race, ethnicity, to watch yourself. They don't care about you. It's your uniform, okay? But it's up to you to make them trust that uniform. That's the thing. You get in that uniform, you got to make them trust that uniform, okay? Don't go in there with your personal feelings, okay? Because it's not about your pride when you take this job. That's what I try to tell people. It ain't about your pride, okay? If you're going to come in, your pride easily gets hurt. It's not the job for you. That's what I tell people.
Like, even when you're just talking about the, it's not about me, it's about the uniform. Like, I can just even feel the anxiety of, like, you never know if someone just may want to, take a shot at you just because of what's going on. And I mean, that's, who wants to, who wants to go to work with that? Your job's hard enough, but then, you have to constantly watch your back from you're constantly protecting yourself from the people you're protecting. I think that's crazy. Yeah. Like, it's definitely very, very tough job. So we commend you. We thank you for taking the time to speak to us today.
Yeah.
I know it's definitely not an easy conversation to be had all around, especially with all the tensions up. But and I appreciate the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you guys.
Salute.
All right.